Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Shelly, and today I'm going to be talking through books that I've bought recently and some books that I have been gifted recently. I don't know. I'm just talking about new books, y'all. Like new to me books, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. I have been really, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say the B word, B-U-S-Y. We're not doing it. We're not doing that today. So I'm going to be talking through books that I've been gifted recently and books that I have purchased recently. If you are new to my channel, what am I doing with my brain right now? If you are new to my channel, then hi, welcome. This video is very emblematic of videos on my channel, slightly scattered, talking about new to me books, titles that I've either been gifted or that I've bought recently. And it's a really good time over here. If you find yourself enjoying the video, I would encourage you to subscribe, stick around, and without any further rambling on, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. I went thrift shopping yesterday. I went thrifting at my local Goodwill and I scored. I got $5, and there was even more that I could have bought. Here is my question for you all. I have a question. It has nothing to do with the books that I've been gifted, but I do want to know about a series that I keep seeing at used bookstores, though I never find the first one. I can never find the first book, and it is Polark by Winston Graham. Can you tell me about that series? I would only just realize that it was written in the 40s. I would have guessed that it was written in the 90s. It seems like there is a television show about it. I know nothing about the television show. I know nothing about the series except that very literary Kari at the channel, Very Literary Kari, really likes that series. And she talked about it like 2 years ago. I will leave her channel link down below. She's wonderful. And here's the deal, like, I just don't know much about the series, but every time I see a book in it's like a super long series, I think it is. And every time I see a book in that series, I want to buy it because I feel like I might like the series, but the only person I've really ever heard talking about the series is Kari. Okay, what a weird way to start the video. So here is the deal. I bought books that I found at the Goodwill, and I have been gifted a bunch of books. I have patrons, essentially, of this channel who willingly and lovingly send me books. I have several of you, and I'm going to go through some of the books that I have been sent. They're ebooks for my Kindle. So I have several books that people send me for my Kindle, and I'm going to go through some of those titles. And I'm going to go through books that I chose myself through the book fate, the goddess of book fates at the used bookstore. So, yes, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to alternate, I think. I'm going to go through one book that I purchased, and then one book that I was gifted, one book that I purchased, the gifted, purchase, gift. Y'all get it, okay? So, and here's the deal. With the books that I've been gifted, I very graciously and gratefully am gifted several books. But sometimes what happens is that because of my own constraints with time and the B word that I'm not going to say, I don't always get to dig into what that title is about. And so I use this time when I sit with you all to relax, to figure out what this title is all about, to share with you. I always want some feedback as to like your experience with the book or the short story or the author. I'm just always curious about like the dialogue. Like I'm sharing, but I want to hear from you. Y'all get it. I know you get it. Okay. So first book, we're starting with a physical book. To no surprise to anyone, least of all myself, I saw a Kate Atkinson book. Kate Atkinson is my new like irresistible author. I read case histories. I was so impressed by case histories, and it was just such a good book. Like, it was such a good book. She's just my kind of writer. I feel like her writing is incredibly intentional. I mean, you could say that about any author. At least in case histories, her writing was thoughtful, entertaining. She does this thing where some of the chapters, from the beginning, from the very first word of the chapter to the very last word of that same chapter, it feels as if it is a perfectly encapsulated short story. And the only other author that I can think of off the top of my head, I feel like Tolstoy does that in War and Peace. There's certain chapters that just feel like from beginning to end, it's a perfect episode. It just reads as just a wonderfully beautiful episode of the novel, or a perfect short story, in other words. Another author that does that quite well is Jeffrey Eugenides in the book Middlesex that he wrote. From each section felt like its own very well written, very well developed, and very interesting short story. And there's something I really love about that kind of writing. Almost like these mini short stories that build to something bigger and greater, which is so funny because I don't see myself as a short story reader very often. I don't gravitate toward short stories, but I like when there's that feeling of like a great short story or a fantastic like episodic encapsulation within a novel, especially if the writer can do it multiple times. And so I feel like Kate Atkinson did that so well with case histories. And so when I saw this, which is behind the scenes at the museum, when I saw a physical copy, I was like, yes, queen. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I literally got so excited. I'm like, she's mine. She's coming home. Love her so much. Want her so much. I just am so excited. Can you all tell? Like, she's an auto-buy author for me. I don't feel that way hardly about any authors. But Kate Atkinson, from that one book alone, is like my girl. And so I saw this and I was like, yes. So I decided to pick this up. Do I know what this is about? No. It's Ruby Lennox begins narrating her own life at the moment of her conception. Oh my goodness. Wow. And from there takes the reader on a whirlwind tour of the 20th century as seen through the eyes of a girl determined to learn more about her family and the secrets it keeps. Fantastic. Whitbread Book of the Year. I don't know that award. The name sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. Maybe you all know. Maybe you could tell me. But anyways, this is the first novel, and I love it so much. It's like more Kate Atkinson in my life. I'm just so excited, y'all. Oh my goodness. Nerd Shelley is coming out to play. So an ebook or an e-title, it's a short story. I just said I didn't like short stories, but I am excited about this one. And it has a note with it from the sender, and it says the title story was voted greatest American short story some time ago in The Atlantic, which is a magazine that I quite admire. Keep a box of tissues handy. It's heartbreaking. And then it was noted that this is an excellent short story collection of the sender, from the sender to me. Like the sender, this is one of their favorite short stories. Oh my gosh. Is it one of those days where words are going to just be super difficult? It might be, but you know what? That's okay. So let me see what this is all about. I'm going to look it up. So In the Gloaming, which is what the short story collection is called, is by Alice Elliott Dark. It was originally published in 2001. I have never even heard of this author. Am I missing something? The title story, according to Goodreads, was successfully made into an HBO film about the complex relationships between lovers, spouses, neighbors, and family members. Interesting. I've never even heard of this, which is just shocking. Well, not shocking. I don't know all things bookish, but so this is new to me. It's a very short story collection. It's only about 208 pages, or no, 286 pages, still not super long. And this is new to me. So I don't really know much to say about it, but it sounds like it is set in a fictional town, and it's about the residents, their past and present, and it's written with skill, compassion, and wit. We love a good bit of wit on my channel. The next book stood out because of the publisher. It's a Europa Press edition. This is by Jane Gardam. I'm sure I have seen this at used bookstores before. It's called Old Felth. But here is why I decided to pick it up. It's because of the note inside. Well, first off, I saw the publisher, I saw this spine on the shelf. Europa Press has published one of my favorite on series that I'm still currently reading. And it is, what's it called? The Ferrante series. Oh my goodness. So it's the Elena Ferrante series, starting with My Brilliant Friend, and then it goes on to the second book, Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay, I believe, or The Story of a New Name. I cannot remember. I've read the first two books in the series, and they are great. Really good. Europa Press has this little pelican. It has this pelican on the spine, and their colors stand out. There's like these muted, soft colors. So this isn't like a bright red, it's this sort of faded, desaturated red. And so the reason why I actually bought this is because of this precious post-it that says, "Tell me if you have ever read a better book, Charlie." So I was like, what? So I had picked it up and seen that, and I was like, oh my goodness, that looks so good. So this is what it's about. It's about Sir Edwin Feathers, and he has had a brilliant career, nicknamed Old Felth. Felth it's an acronym standing for Failed in London, Try Hong Kong. At this point that where we are meeting him, he is an 80-year-old widower, and I believe he's looking back on his life. I tend to get along with older protagonists and really enjoy them. My kids are having a grand old time, so you probably hear them running up and down the hall, which they ought not to be doing, but we're just going to ignore that for now. We're just going to ignore that. A quote on the front cover is, "Old Felth belongs in the Dickensian pantheon of memorable characters." And it was shortlisted for the Orange Prize for Fiction in 2005, which is now known as the Women's Prize for Fiction, which is a prize that I have mixed feelings about, but I tend to get along with. We'll leave it there. Okay, so this is book number 2. The next book that I was gifted was a Hilary Mantel short story collection. It is no secret that I think Hilary Mantel she was such a brilliant writer. She was so brilliant. Her Wolf Hall series, the entire series, was incredible. I mean, it was so good. One of my favorite series, if not my favorite series of all time. Love Thomas Cromwell in those books. Nuanced, beautiful. The writing, I mean, she's just brilliant, okay? Like, love those books. So, Learning to Talk is her short story collection. I guess it's loosely autobiographical, and it actually would be a good book for me to read, considering that I love her long form fiction, but I have no idea what her short form fiction is all about. And I know I own several of her books, and yet I haven't picked them up. Yeah, I really need to get back on the Hilary Mantel train. She has been missing in my life for too long, and the sender probably knew that, and so he gifted me Learning to Talk, which, again, I don't know. Maybe I need to come around on short stories. Maybe I need to, because it sounds like this is what's being gifted in my life and might be calling to me. The next book I bought is a book of poetry. Goodness gracious, it is hard to find good poetry at a secondhand store, a thrift store. So when I saw this, I scooped it up with excitement. It's in beautiful condition, and it is Pablo Neruda's, one of his book of poetry. It's called The Captain's Verses. So he was a 1971 Nobel laureate, just an incredible poet. I read 2 years ago, I believe, 20 love songs and the Song of Despair. 20 love poems and the Song of Despair, I believe. And I liked it, but didn't love it. So I'm going to try again. And I'm just so glad I feel really lucky to have come across a beautiful book of poetry that is in gorgeous condition because, and by a poet that I recognize, looks like somebody did their math. Oh my goodness, y'all. Somebody did their math homework in this book. But you know what? That's okay. And I'm just excited because I just think, oh, and yes, I think the last book did this as well. But there's the Spanish on one side and the translation on the other. And I know un poco, just a teeny tiny bit of Spanish. And so sometimes I did like to see the Spanish words on one side. And one of them I read aloud to myself. Like when I read the 20 love poems and the Song of Despair, I read a couple out loud because I'm not great at it. I don't think I would do it in front of anybody else or claim that like my pronunciation is perfect or anything or even like good. Oh, as I drop a book. I would not even call my pronunciation like a good pronunciation, but I do think that, you know, I enjoy, we'll just say that, I really enjoy reading some of the Spanish aloud. I just think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful language. And having taken a couple of Spanish classes, and I visited Mexico for an extended period of time. I was there for 7 weeks during a very formative summer in my youth. And so I have been around the language, and I have been to Mexico several times. Anyways, y'all get the picture. Mexico is like a special place to me. It was very personality forming in some ways when I went there when I was younger. And I just loved it. I just loved it. So it's nice to revisit such a beautiful language and with a poet that I want to get to know more. I'm going to stop talking, okay? I'm just going to move it on. The next book, I just about squealed when I saw it come through in my inbox, and it is The Vaster Wilds by Lauren Groff. This is Groff's newest book. I own Matrix, and I have not read it. No judgment. This is a judge-free space. But I feel like she's an author I would really love. Like, I feel like I will love that book. I really need to get on it. Maybe one of these months I ought to read books from authors I feel like I will really, really, really love. Like that I feel like I'm connected to in some way for basically no reason at all except for maybe feedback from you all, which you all know me well enough. Like you all have proven that you know me really well. and so, you know, sometimes I hear from you all and you're like, you're going to love that book. It's so good. You're going to love it. And so I feel like I've gotten that kind of feedback from Lauren Groff, and I need to actually confirm or perhaps not deny, but I need to either confirm those comments or, you know, completely obliterate them with the fact that maybe I won't love her. But anyways, The Vaster Wilds is Groff's newest book, and the premise sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. It is about one spirited girl alone in the wilderness trying to survive. A servant girl escapes from a colonial settlement in the wilderness. She carries nothing with her but her wit and a few possessions. Her wits, not just one wit, her wits and a few possessions, and a spark of God that burns hot within her. Yes, okay, it sounds so good, y'all. It sounds so good, and it's set in the 1700s. So, I believe. Okay, so now we're going back to one of my physical books, and I'm gonna do something up. Yes. Okay, then I saw another magpie book for me, y'all. I saw it. It's almost as if it was glittering in my face, and it was like, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. Okay, so, and it is Arthur Miller's The Death of a Salesman, which it's a Penguin Classics. Y'all know I love my Penguin Classics. I did a whole Penguin Classics tour. I love this publisher. It is just like sweetness for me. So I wasn't sure about, you know, I was like, I picked Pygmalion up. I picked up Saint Joan by Bernard Shaw, who wrote Pygmalion, and I didn't love it. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't love it. So I was like, another play by someone, you know, am I gonna like it? I was slightly suspicious. And then I was like, you know, it's on the back. This is what it says on the back. The great American play of an ordinary man struggled to leave his mark on the world. I'm like, okay, the great American play. All right. So, and so, you know, it's about an older man yet again. Old Felth is about an older man. I don't know what's happening. And he's 63, and he is wondering where his life, like, what happened. So it seems like we are going back and thinking about things with older men in this hall. But that's okay, because this sounds good. I've never read any Arthur Miller. I know Scandalo. Oh, Scandalo. But I just like, as a reader and a lover of classics, I feel like it is my duty. It is my duty to read all the things. And so this counts as one of the things. So I must read it. And then you all, I'm hoping y'all will tell me whether I'll like it or not. I'm hopeful, okay? Like, I'm coming at this with hope and positivity. Okay, the next book I have never heard of. It's a translated work. Again, sent to me by someone. It's an ebook. So it is The Adventures of China. I'm looking at the pronunciation. China Iron. And this is by Gabriela Chebezon Camara. And it is translated by Fiona McIntosh and Iona McIntyre. Okay, well, the cover looks interesting. I mean, truly, it looks really cool. But let's see what this is about. This is a riotous romp, taking the reader from a turbulent frontier culture of the Pampas deep into indigenous territories. It charts the adventures of Mrs. China Iron, Martin Fierro's abandoned wife, in her travels across the Pampas in a covered wagon with her newfound friend, soon-to-be lover, a Scottish woman named Liz. Okay, that's enough. Okay. Wow. I mean, I was hooked at riotous romp. But now this sounds really good, okay? I don't know when this was let me figure out when this was originally published. I'm like, what in the world? Okay, I think it was published in 2019, or it was translated in 2019 and published for an American-speaking, or an English-speaking audience, rather. My goodness. Okay. Shortlisted for the International Booker in 2020. Some commenters are saying it's wonderfully fun and entertaining. Okay. Oh, and it says it's like a Sarah Waters novel. Again, Sarah Waters is one of those, now that I'm going off a rabbit trail, Sarah Waters is an author I feel like is for me, and I own a couple of her books, but I have not read any of her yet. So, wow. Okay, wow. I did not expect that. But thank you. Thank you for the book. It sounds really good. It sounds really interesting. I have a mild curiosity about the International Booker and books that have been on it, but it's hard to keep up with all of the prizes, and so sometimes I wait for books to call to me, and that book actually, The Adventures of China Iron sounds like a book that I would really enjoy. Ooh, I just didn't expect that. I didn't expect that in the least. Okay, next up we have a book nominated for the Booker, and it is The Gift of Rain, and this is by Tan Tuan Eng, who was longlisted for the book called House of Doors, his newer release. Tan Tuan Eng was shortlisted when he wrote this for the Booker for this book, and I've heard his writing is just gorgeous. So The Gift of Rain is the story of Philip Hutton and the haunting tragedies that befall him when he becomes entangled in a web of wartime loyalties and deceits. Interesting, a thrilling epic, and true literary page turner. So this is his debut. This is Tan Tuan Eng's debut novel, and it did really well. It was really well received, and I'm wondering if somebody saw that he was longlisted for the International Booker. I mean, longlisted for. Do you hear Harry barking? I think that's my time. I need to go, y'all. But anyways, he was longlisted this year in 2020. He was longlisted in 2023 for House of Doors, which is his latest novel about W. Somerset Maugham. And I always want to say Maugham, but I know it's not. I know it's mom, like mom. Okay. Anyways, I'm sure that because his latest release has been, noticed by a huge huge literary prize that Tantawinning's, you know, backlisted novels are also getting some praise. Okay, that is it. I need to go. Harry's barking. I am just... I'm a little bit, I'm not spent. I've had a great time. I could probably keep going and going and going for a couple of hours, but at this point I need to check on what's going on in the house before it falls to the ground. Yes, I'm that important. But yeah, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you so much for, you know, just hanging out and letting me talk through all of the books that I really, really enjoy. That's it. I'm going to go, but thank you, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!